Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact meta ad campaign setup that we have used to help artists on Spotify go from this to this to this. We're going to cover how to set up the campaign, how to create and set up your landing page, how to optimize the campaign once it's been running for a little while. And then I'm going to share with you 3 different ways you can use this campaign setup type to grow in different areas on Spotify. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the ad manager here. We're going to go to the green create button to start a new campaign. Now for this type, we're going to run what's called a conversion campaign. This allows us to install a tracking pixel inside of our landing page that will then report back to Meta and say somebody click the button on the landing page to go through to Spotify or the streaming platform of their choice. To do that, we're going to use an engagement campaign. Now we're going to choose manual engagement campaign setup because I want to have control over all of the details. So here we're going to call this something like Spotify growth. And then I always like to put a little heads up display of what I'm spending every day. We'll just set it to $10 a day. Set the budget to $10 a day. And the thing that I want to focus on the most here at the campaign level is I want to use Advantage campaign budget. This is important. This allows the campaign to optimize and put money behind the ad and the ad set that it thinks is performing the best. And this is going to be important in a minute. So now that we have this set up, everything else stays the same. We're going to go to the ad set level. Now here at the ad set level, this is where most of the details happen. We're going to start by naming this something like Spotify. And then I'm going to give the age breakdown that I'm going to end up using. And then I'm going to get the countries that I'm going to end up using. And this will come into play in just a minute. You'll understand all of this. So the first place we want to go is the conversion location. Because we're using a landing page, we're going to use our website. So we want the conversion to happen on our website. The goal is to maximize the number of conversions. We're going to make sure our pixel is selected. And then for a conversion event, I'm going to use the view content event because that's what my landing page is going to fire. And if you use the landing page service that I recommend in this video, that's what yours will fire as well. So now that we've got that set up, dynamic creative stays off. We're going to leave the schedule as it is. The main thing we want to control here is our audience targeting settings. And we want to go to switch to original audience options. This turns off Meta's Advantage Plus audience. And for this use case, we want that off. It's great for other things, but it's really not great for a music campaign. So now that that's off, we want to start with location. We're going to go to edit next to locations here. And I'm going to search locations, select browse. And I have this list of saved locations here that I've marked T1. That stands for tier 1. These are the highest return countries, highest payout per stream countries, and the least likely countries to run into bot traffic on an ad platform. Now, if you're not familiar with what that is, basically there are these little computer programs that people make, and they're nasty, and they click on ads, and they click through ads, and they do all kinds of weird stuff to drive up competitors' ad spend so that their ads can have a lower cost per impression. It's a whole thing. It's a whole like dark market. Anyway, to avoid running into all of that, we want to use this list of countries. Now, if you want this list of countries, I will leave a link in the description of this video to a spreadsheet that I have put together that has all these countries laid out to my best knowledge based on my own experience. Now, I'm sure you've run into this list if you've done any sort of research in music marketing videos on YouTube before. Other people have their lists, that's fine. Most of them overlap with what this list looks like. There'll probably be a few outliers, but do what you will with that. Hopefully it'll help you. Now, if I did want to include some other countries here, I might include places like France or Italy or Spain. If I wanted to go super big and wide, then I might go like Brazil and Mexico, but that's going to eat up all of my ad budget, and none of these countries are going to get any of that budget. So for now, I'm going to stick with tier 1 because that's where I want to advertise. So after location, we're going to go to ages. I'm going to go to edit. Now I have the unique benefit of knowing where my audience is. It's 18 to 34. But if I didn't know where that was, then I would start at 18 to 64 and leave out 65 plus. This is a common trap that people run into. They'll just leave it wide open, and then all of the budget ends up going to 65 plus and doesn't convert to Spotify. So for this setup, I'm going to go to 18 to 64. And in fact, I'm going to go all the way back to the top, and I'm going to adjust this to 18 to 64 to reflect that in the title of this ad set. That way, when I look at it, when I'm coming to check performance, I know what's going on in here without having to dig into the details. So we're going to assume this is like a new setup for me. I'm going to go 18 to 64 to find my audience, assuming that I'm a new artist. So I'm going to keep genders open, and then I'm going to outline my interests. I'm going to start with Spotify, and then you can see it's automatically populated some similar things here. Now you can include this if you want to include these things on your landing page. So I'll do Apple Music as well, and then YouTube Music as well, and I'll just go for those 3. So what I'm looking at is either people who like Apple Music, either people who like Spotify, or either people who like YouTube. I'm going to assume and hope that the people who are going to see my ad consume their music on one of these 3 platforms. So now that that's set, we have the beneficiary and payer information filled out. That's important for the EU. And then we're going to come down to placements. So we have Advantage plus placements on. I don't want that on. That's going to put my ad in all kinds of places. I don't want it to be seen. So I'm going to go to edit here. And then I'm going to switch to manual placements. Now for my music ads and for the music ads for most of the clients that we serve, I like to use Facebook feed, Instagram feed, and then Facebook stories and reels and Instagram stories and reels. Sometimes we'll just lean into Instagram feed, stories, and reels. Sometimes we'll just lean into Instagram reels and stories, and sometimes we'll lean into just reels. It really depends on the use case. But when I'm setting up a new campaign, I want to gather as much information as I can to learn about my audience. So I'm going to go for all 3 placements on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm going to start right there. So to make this easy, I'll deselect everything, and then I'll deselect this, go Facebook feed, Instagram feed, remove the other feeds, and then I'll come down to stories and reels. I'll go Instagram and Facebook stories, and Instagram and Facebook reels, and then I'll remove this Instagram search results placement. So now I have 6 total placements. It's time to go to the ad level. Okay, so here at the ad level, I'm going to start with the top 3 songs on my artist profile for this campaign. Now, if you're a new artist and you have fewer than 5 songs out, this really isn't going to matter. But if you have a catalog of music or like a growing catalog of music, I generally recommend you start with your winners. And the winners in your catalog are the songs that have the highest popularity score, which is a metric that Spotify attributes to songs to rank them sort of on the platform. And the higher popularity songs are going to be the top songs on your artist profile. So here you can see my number 1 song is a track called Hero. So that's the ad I'm going to start with. So we're going to call this ad Hero. You can see I've run ads for it before. So I've got my Facebook and Instagram accounts selected. I'm going to create an ad, single image or video. I'm going to turn off multi-advertiser ads. I'm going to skip this part here, this website URL, because I'm going to come to creative first, and then we'll go back to that. So we're going to set up creative. I'm going to do a video ad. I'm going to skip this source URL because that is really sort of used for if you're running something to a website that it can pull data and information from, like a landing page with a lot of text on it or some images and stuff. We're not doing that. This is a different type of thing. So we're going to skip that creative setup. We're going to go to media. Now here is where you will upload your ad. Now I already have a bunch of ads uploaded that I've used in the past. So I'm going to select this ad for Hero and select next. You can see my ad is exactly 15 seconds long. I recommend a 15-second ad to start. It's long enough to give context, but short enough not to wear somebody out. And it allows you to sort of place it really anywhere without running into restrictions according to the ad platform. So I'm going to skip this and continue. Now we have 2 types. I have my vertical type on the left and a square on the right. You can see it's uploaded a vertical video for the square format. I don't want that. I'm going to go to replace. Search for Hero again, select the square ad I've put together, and go to back. Now I have a vertical format ad and a square format ad in the same place here. Both of them have the exact same song section. Both of them have the exact same cover art. It's recommended, honestly, these days to use a performance video, like a music video clip or some other video that you've taken on your phone that has good lighting, that type of thing, that looks professional. But in the absence of that, really good cover art actually does convert quite well still. It gives the potential listener context about exactly what's going on, and it will show them what they can expect, which is the cover art on Spotify and the landing page. And also I've thrown the Spotify logo on here so that you can know where you're going and know what this is an ad for. So you can see I've got a little bit of animation going on here. I've got some dust particles. The Spotify logo is animated. There's a green bar going across, and then my song is in the background. It's really not overly complicated. Do yourself a favor. Don't make it more complex than it has to be. This ad works beautifully across formats, across genres, across artists. We have used this from pop to hip hop to classical to country. It works. Again, though, if you have performance footage, that's preferred. Okay, so now we have this uploaded. We're going to go next, and now we're going to write what this ad is about. I'm just going to do something simple like listen to Hero on Spotify. So you can add multiple options. Use your discretion here. You can do these AI options if you want to try that, generative text. I use those sometimes. It really is dealer's choice. This is where your judgment comes into play. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to write here. You need to split test things. You need to try things that are in your voice, not my voice. So you do have to take some agency here and try some stuff on your own. So I am going to leave the headline out. I'm not going to do the headline, creative text, all that. The only thing I want to worry about is this call to action, which I'm going to change to listen now. And once that's done, I'm going to go next. So this is a whole bunch of stuff that really is not necessary for our purposes. Again, use your best judgment here. Here's what I do though. I do leave translate text on, especially because I'm going to be in multiple countries. Text improvements, yeah, I'll leave that on. Visual touch-ups, no, because I've crafted this ad to look exactly how I want it to look. I'm not going to do the enhanced CTA. That's just my preference. Flex media, no way. Again, I've created this video for specific formats. I don't want it getting all put around like that. And then add video effects. I'm going to turn that off as well. Again, I've created the video how I want it to be. So now we're going to go done. Okay, so now everything is set except for our link to go to our website. So to do that, we have to create a landing page. Okay, so my favorite landing page service is a site called TonedIn. It's tonedin.io. I will leave a link to check that out in the description of this video. I like TonedIn because you get a ton of features for free, and it is the easiest one to set up. Most link music, smart link generators on the market today require you to do a custom conversion setup with their own specific button click type and all that. And while there is merit to that, I understand the logic behind it. For a beginner, and honestly, for myself, I just don't like going through that whole process to set something up. And TonedIn works beautifully. It continues to work beautifully. A couple of hiccups along the way, but it still works just fine, especially if you're using a custom domain, which I recommend and we'll point out in just a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Smart Link Campaigns. You're going to go to create a new link campaign. You're going to select music. Now, to showcase this, I'm going to use an existing link. I'm just going to show you what I have already made and walk through the steps that way because everything's already populated. So I have this link for Hero, go to edit link. So you start with your track source on Spotify. So to get that, go to your Spotify artist profile, select the first song, click the three dots to the right of the name, go down to share and copy link to song. So when you go back to your landing page, that is what you will paste right here. And once you've pasted that, you'll go to next, which says update link on my interface. And you'll end up at this page, select services. So you can see for this landing page, I have YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Now here, I still have the track link in there. For this type of campaign, what I recommend is using your profile link. So if you go back to your artist profile, you can switch this out. Go to the three dots underneath your name, go to share, select copy link to artist. Go back here, you select all of this and paste that in. Now the Spotify link is going to take the person, not to your song, but to your artist profile. So that when they land on your artist profile, they have the play button, they can choose to follow you, and they can play the first song, the first few songs, or listen through your whole catalog, starting with the song that you're using in your ad. So you get kind of a hat trick of benefits from one campaign, which is what we want. We want to make the best use of our money as we can. So now that that's done, we're going to go to continue, and then we will it's automatically pulling the cover art. It's automatically formatting the page, everything. You can change the name if you want to. I don't. I just have the song name, my name. So we're going to go to continue. After that, you're going to delete any text that's here. If there is text here, you're going to remove it because, I don't like having an audio preview on the cover art here. So I don't want that there. Then we've got Hero by Tom DuPree III. We're going to go to continue. I'm going to use my own domain here. Now, this is a whole different thing. I have videos on this on my channel if you want to search for them, how to connect a custom domain to TonedIn. If you want to do that, I do recommend it. The FanLink TV domain that they use now can be a little dodgy depending on the country. So to avoid any issues with that, I do recommend using your own custom domain. You can see I have several that I have connected here. It's super easy to do, but we're going to use this. We're going to keep the URL slug to Hero because that's what it has been. Now we get to tracking. This is very important. This is critical to the function of this campaign. You have to make sure you have your Metapixel installed on this page. To get your Metapixel ID, you're going to go to the Event Manager inside of Meta's Ad Manager, inside of the ad platform. You're going to go select your pixel and you're going to select settings, and you can copy this to your clipboard. So you select that, you go back to your landing page, and then you paste that in here. And once that's installed, you can go here and go to continue. Now your campaign is set. You can go to create smart link, and you will end up with a link that is usable that you can now put into your ad campaign. So you'll end up on this display here. You can go to copy link and then go back to the ad manager. And once you're back at the ad manager, you paste that in and you scroll all the way to the bottom and make sure that same pixel is selected for your website events here at the bottom of the screen. So now the basics of this campaign are set up, but we want to test more than just one ad in one ad set in one campaign. We do want to only have one campaign, but we want to introduce multiple song options and multiple targeting options. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that real quick. So the first thing we're going to do is duplicate these ads. So we're going to go to this left menu here, and we're going to select the three dots and go to quick duplicate. This allows us to just copy the ad. So here we're going to change this to, like, let's say my song Lions, which is the second song on my artist profile. And then we'll go through the process of changing out these videos. So we'll create a new URL. We'll call this, like, go.tomdupree3rd.com/lions instead of hero. And then we'll change out the ads here. We'll go to the edit button here. We can edit this ad group and go to change and switch it out for something else. We can do the same thing for the vertical ad. We can go to edit group. We can go to change, switch it out for something else. And then we'll want to update the text as well to say something like, listen to Lions on Spotify. So we'll do that, and then we'll do it for a third time, quick duplicate, and we will change it to something like my song To the Wolves, because that is the third song on my artist profile. And then we're going to change out the video, change out the text, change out the link. So now we have 3 distinct songs with 3 distinct ads, 3 distinct pieces of text, and 3 distinct links and landing pages. So we're testing 3 different options, all of which will converge on the same place, which is my artist profile. Now, this is important because it gives us the ability to split test many things at once, all in service of the same goal, which is to get followers, streams, and listeners for my catalog and my artist profile on the platform. But that's not all. Now that we've split tested 3 different ads, which I do recommend starting with 3. Now, you can go all the way up to 6. Don't do more than 6, otherwise the platform will just wig out. But 3 is kind of the magic number across, thousands of campaigns. 3 really is a sweet spot. So start with 3. Take my advice on that. So now that we're split testing 3 ads in one ad set, we want to duplicate to a second ad set and try a different targeting option with the same 3 ads. So we're going to go back to the ad set level, select the 3 dots, and go to quick duplicate here. So now we have this new ad set. We're going to call this target. And we're going to remove that copy. And we're going to change one thing here. Everything stays the same, the ads, the countries, the placements, but we're going to come down to this advantage detailed targeting, and we are going to define further. And we're going to add something like rock music, electronic, dance music. We'll leave it at that. Now, this is where you're going to add artists, genres, affinities, things that you think people who would like your music would also like. It doesn't have to just be music. If you make punk music, you might include things like Vans or DC or other skateboard or surf affiliated things, because that's sort of the culture where your music might fit. If you are a country artist, you might target things like truck manufacturers, Bass Pro, things that traditional country music fans are more likely to enjoy alongside enjoying country music. You're not just looking for specific musicians and artists that are similar to the way you sound. You want to get inside of the head, of the mind of your potential listener and ultimately your potential customer to understand what it is they like, and that's what you want to target here. So now this gives us 2 ad sets. We have one that's targeting just streaming platforms and services, and we have another one that is targeting those services, and they must also like the affinities that we've put in there. So they have to like one from each category, which gives sort of a tighter window or tighter set of options for us to find people who are more likely to enjoy what we're doing. And if we get that targeted one right, it's probably going to perform better. But in the instance that we don't quite nail that, this other one is a backup that will allow us to get results anyway. And honestly, it might improve, or it might perform better as it is. That often does happen. Okay, so now we have our campaign set up, our landing page set up. Let's talk about how we're going to optimize this moving forward. So there are 2 primary things that you want to look out for to troubleshoot this type of campaign. Number 1 is age. Now, we've set our age not to include 65 plus in this, but that doesn't mean we're not going to run into some false positives. And the primary way to check both of these things is to use Spotify for Artists. So if we come to Spotify for Artists inside of my profile, you can see that the vast majority of my listener base is ages 18 to 34. And this is what I'm looking for out of my ads. When I go back to the ad manager and I look at the breakdown of my results by age after a few days, a week, a couple weeks, whenever, I'm going to look to make sure that the results on the ad platform are ages 18 to 34. And then that's what I'm getting on Spotify. Now, if I see a bunch of traffic from like say 45 to 54 on the ad platform, and then 45 to 54 starts to track upward here on Spotify for Artists, I know that's working. But if all of my budget's going to that age range on the ad platform and it's not going there on Spotify for Artists, then I know that I'm wasting my money and I want to remove that age from my targeting. The second thing to do is to look at countries. Now, if I'm getting a ton of traffic, say from the United States, and that's what's happening on Spotify, if I go to location here, then this is a good thing. This is what I want. But if I get a lot of traffic, let's say on the ad platform from Australia, let's say Australia is eating up my budget, all my results are coming from there, but Australia is not climbing this chart, and I don't see an increase in listeners coming from Australia, then I know that I'm wasting my money on the ad platform because those results are not translating over to Spotify for Artists. Now, with the list of countries that I've used in this campaign, that's not really likely to happen, but when you start branching out into other countries, tiers 2 and 3, and even the do not target list, which sometimes you can get away with, it's kind of sketch there. If you start using those countries, you really need to pay attention to make sure that you're not wasting your money. The primary places where you're most likely to waste your money, if you get lower on the tier list of countries, tiers 3 in the do not target list, that's the most likely place where you're going to run into false positives. And then the higher age ranges are also where that's most likely to happen. So if you kind of avoid those, then you minimize the surface area for risk, and you will more than likely end up with a campaign that functions as it should. Okay, so now you have the exact strategy that we have used across, tons of artists to promote music and grow from 0 to all the way up to over 1 million listeners on Spotify. This is the same framework we use for everybody. This is the starting place. From there, it just comes down to troubleshooting the quality of the music, the quality of the ad content, the videos, how frequently an artist is releasing music. This is incredibly important. The better performing artists that we work with release music every 3 or 4 weeks. The sweet spot's kind of 6 weeks. We have some people who release every 8, but when people release less frequently than that, growth just sort of stagnates. So you really kind of have to keep it up and compound those results over a long period of time. That's what works the best. Now that you have this whole lay of the land, let's talk about 3 different ways you can use this campaign to grow on Spotify. We've already covered one, which is going directly to your profile to get followers, streams, listeners for your catalog. Now, that's as simple as switching out that button link that we did in the landing page to go to your artist profile rather than the song. The second way you can do this is to run a release campaign where you leave that song link in the button and you spend a lot of money in a short window of time to boost a song's popularity score and streams within the first week of release, and then get on algorithmic playlists on Spotify. The first way is really like a long, slow burn, like a daily ad spend consistently, and that's the foundation, that Spotify growth campaign. We stack a release campaign on top of that, and we window it on and off. So we run a release campaign and then we turn it off, and then we wait to the next release. We run a release campaign, we turn it off, but that's all built on top of this ongoing Spotify growth campaign. And then a third way you can do this is to build your own artist playlist and create a landing page that is very similar to what we just did, but instead it has the playlist cover art instead of the song. And then you link to the playlist on Spotify. You can even do tricky things where you can deep link to a song so that it auto plays within the context of the playlist, which is a pretty neat trick. And then you can build your own artist playlist. So going to your profile, going to a playlist, these are ways to build in long-term attention from listeners so that when you release new music, your songs automatically get inside of their libraries, either through Release Radar or inside of that playlist when you add it after the song is out. And then that release campaign is a way to sort of push results really hard for a moment in time in between these other 2 campaigns that run in the background. Okay, so there you have it. That's the game. That's the whole strategy that we use. Well, for the most part, it's the nuts and bolts, really, that we use with my agency DuPree X to help artists succeed on Spotify. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to go deeper with topics just like this every single week, you want to upgrade kind of how you think about music, marketing, and just your overall mindset, then I hope you'll subscribe to my newsletter, The One Thing. Every week, I send out one thing that I'm either thinking about or testing to help you succeed as an independent artist. So if you do want to subscribe to that, I will leave a link to do so in the description of this video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.